পৃষ্ঠা 224 continued. Change of narration. Change the mode of narration. Question 59. Quote, I don't agree with you, unquote, said the host to the guests. Answer, the host told the guests that he did not agree with them. Question 60. He said, quote, I myself have experienced neither capital punishment nor life imprisonment, unquote. Answer, he argued that he himself had experienced neither capital punishment nor life imprisonment. Question 61. He said, quote, in my opinion, capital punishment is more moral and more human than imprisonment, unquote. Answer, he said that in his opinion, capital punishment was more moral and more human than imprisonment. Question 62. Quote, they are equally immoral, unquote, remarked one of the guests, quote, because their purpose is the same, comma, to take away life, unquote. Answer, one of the guests argued that they were equally immoral because their purpose was the same, to take away life. পৃষ্ঠা 225. Question 63. One of the guests said, quote, the state is not God. It has no right to take away that which it cannot give back, if it should so desire, unquote. Answer, one of the guests pleaded that the state is not God and it has no right to take away that which it cannot give back, if it should so desire. Question 64. The lawyer said, comma, quote, capital punishment and life imprisonment are equally immoral, unquote. Answer, the lawyer said that capital punishment and life imprisonment are equally immoral. Question 65. He said, quote, if I were offered the choice between them, comma, I would certainly choose the second, unquote. Answer, he said if had been offered the choice between them, he would certainly choose the second. Question 66. He said, comma, quote, it is better to live somehow than not to live at all, unquote. Answer, he said it is better to live somehow than not to live at all. Question 67. The banker said to the lawyer, quote, I bet you 2 millions you wouldn't stick in a cell even for 5 years, unquote. Answer, the banker told the lawyer that he bet him 2 millions he wouldn't stick in a cell even for 5 years. Question 68. Quote, if you mean it seriously, unquote, replied the lawyer, quote, then I bet I will stay not 5 but 15, unquote. Answer, the lawyer replied that if he meant it seriously, then he bet he would stay not 5 but 15. Question 69. Quote, agreed. You stake 2 millions, I stake my freedom, unquote, said the lawyer to the banker. Answer, the lawyer agreed upon the condition that the banker would stake 2 millions and he would his freedom. Question 70. During supper he said to the lawyer jokingly, quote, come to your senses, young roan, before it's too late, unquote. Answer, calling him a young roan during supper, he advised the lawyer jokingly to come to his senses before it was too late. Question 71. The banker said, quote, 2 millions are nothing to me, but you stand to lose 3 or 4 of the best years of your life, unquote. Answer. The banker proudly asserted that 2 millions were nothing to him, but he, within bracket lawyer, stood to lose 3 or 4 of the best years of his life. Question 72. The banker said to the lawyer, quote, the idea that you have the right to free yourself at any moment will poison the whole of your life in the cell, unquote. Answer. The banker told the lawyer that the idea that he, within bracket lawyer, had the right to free himself at any moment would poison the whole of his life in the cell. Prishtha 226. Question 73. The banker now asked himself, quote, why did I make this bet, unquote. Answer. The banker now asked himself why he had made that bet. Correction of errors. Correct the errors in the following sentences by choosing the right option. Question 74. The banker was recalling to his mind the party he gave in the autumn 15 years before. Answer. The banker was recalling to his mind the party he had given in the autumn 15 years before. Question 75. There had many clever people at the party and much conversation. Answer. There were many clever people at the party and much conversation. Question 76. The guests, among them not a few scholars and journalists, for the most part disapproved capital punishment. Answer. The guests, among them not a few scholars and journalists, for the most part disapproved of capital punishment. Question 77. Some of them thought that capital punishment should replace universally by life imprisonment. Answer. Some of them thought that capital punishment should be replaced universally by life imprisonment. Question 78. If I offered the choice between them, I would certainly choose the second. Answer. If I were offered the choice between them, I would certainly choose the second. Question 79. It's better to live somehow than not to live at all. Question 79 আবার পড়ছি. It's best to live somehow than not to live at all. Answer. It's better to live somehow than not to live at all. Question 80. 2 millions are nothing me, but you lose 3 or 4 of the best years of your life. Answer. 2 millions are nothing to me, but you lose 3 or 4 of the best years of your life. Question 81. Quote, I don't agree you, unquote, said the host to the guests. Answer. Quote, I don't agree with you, unquote, said the host to the guests. Question 82. He recollect further what had happened after the evening party. Answer. He recollected further what had happened after the evening party. Question 83. Will it convince people that capital punishment is bad or better than imprisonment for life? Answer. Will it convince people that capital punishment is worse or better than imprisonment for life? পৃষ্ঠা 227. Question 84. During the first year, the lawyer suffered terribly loneliness and boredom. Answer. During the first year, the lawyer suffered terribly from loneliness and boredom. Question 85. In the second year, the piano heard no longer. Answer. In the second year, the piano was heard no longer. Question 86. He felt these subjects so hungrily that the banker hardly had time to get books. Answer. He fell on these subjects so hungrily that the banker hardly had time to get books. Question 87. By the noise I shall know that my efforts not been in vain. Answer. By the noise I shall know that my efforts have not been in vain. Question 88. The proud man of business had become an ordinary banker, tremble at every rise and fall in the market. Answer. The proud man of business had become an ordinary banker, trembling at every rise and fall in the market. Question 89. Open books were strewn on the table. Answer. Open books were strewn about on the table. Question 90. The next morning the poor watchman came run to him. Answer. The next morning the poor watchman came running to him. Question 91. I wave the 2 millions which I once dreamed as of paradise. Answer. I wave the 2 millions of which I once dreamed as of paradise. Question 92. I show you indeed my contempt that by which you live. Answer. I show you indeed my contempt for that by which you live. 93. In your books I cast myself bottomless abysses. Answer. In your books I cast mine into bottomless abysses.